that's an experienced, wise comment to make or statement to make, because like it's you are who you run with. It's because drugs are fucked up. It's because what we do is fucked up. It's crazy. It is. And I love it. We have these things inside of us that are unlike anyone else. Anybody that does these extreme things, there's no one like it. Powerlifters, bodybuilders, strong men, like, dude, we're talking some wild sons of bitches. I don't know too much about the powerlifting strongman community, but if you sit down and you have a round table of bodybuilders that are no cameras are on, nothing, and we're all like, there's nothing being recorded. Let's talk about the real stuff. Everybody's going to come out with the wildest stories you will ever hear. They will blow your mind, from a dieting, a cardio, a training, a steroid, all these different things. You and I just happen to be a little more open about it because we're like, listen, if I don't tell these stories, it's never going to be out there and people aren't going to know. Like trend cough. Like there's times whenever you just take trend and all of a sudden you start coughing uncontrollably and turn purple and coughing on the ground. People are like, what? Yeah. And then you just get up and do the other shoulder.
Absolutely. I've done the trend cough thing many times and I didn't stop. You're panicking. Am I going to have to call the hospital right now? Because I might die. But then you keep to the other arm. It's the same thing.
But dude, if you had that round table, those are the things that happen. Like whenever I got around other guys, there's stories about people that the stuff they've taken and the blood work they got back, and it's crazy. And you're like, man, like you're just as screwed up as me. But we don't talk about that stuff because it's taboo, especially publicly, because then everybody's going to think you're a huge piece of shit. When you're not, you're just crazy, because we love the crazy. I don't want to watch a fight that's just grappling. I want to see blood. I want to see somebody get split open with an elbow right above the eyeball. You know what I mean? That's what we're attracted to. We just like these things, and that's what we're in. We're in that sport where we love to see the crazy stuff. The more shredded the guys are, the better. The bigger. I mean, Ronnie Coleman at 300 pounds on stage. It was the wildest sight. You were right there with me, probably watching it all. You're like, oh my God, this is nuts. Jay Cutler chasing Ronnie, one of the greatest rivalries in bodybuilding history. So I think that it's all there. It's all crazy. We just have to continue to talk about it so that more people understand it, because it's becoming a reality of people losing their life from this crazy stuff. And if you don't think you can, or you're going to be surprised whenever it occurs, like you're mistaken. Like it's going to occur. Like, I hate to say it, but Cedric isn't the only one that's going to pass this year. There's going to be more. And there's going to be more that you guys have no clue who they are. Like, these are just famous ones going, guys. Like, everybody's like, well, Nasser was older. Nasser was what? Nasser was 50, 57?
I have no idea how old he was. He wasn't old.
No, but I'm 37. Like, if you told me, Seth, you're going to die before you're 60, I'm going to be like, oh boy, I don't want to do that. My parents are 65. I'm like, I don't want to go that young. But whenever I was younger, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Let's go. That's old. It's mindsets change.
Yeah, absolutely. The younger people you are, I think you would take the magic pill to win the Olympic title. But when you're 40, 50, and you're like, wait a minute, I've had time to reflect. No, I want to be 100. There's none of this diet 60 thing anymore. And I think for me, I've been lucky because I've competed the natural thing for like 20 years. I did bodybuilding and I did powerlifting. So I got to experience both sides of it. I got to be the natural bodybuilder that hated the people using steroids, hated it because I'm competing. I'm like, I would blow you out of the water if I was taking what you're taking. And it was true. So I hated it. And I eventually switched over. And so I'm this Mr. Natural guy. And, no one's telling me anything they're taking. Then all of a sudden I'm talking to somebody and it was like, yeah, competition, getting ready. You taking I'm like, I'm on this, and this. And they're all like,
you join that club.
Holy shit. You just said exactly like, and then they're like, yeah, I'm on it too. Cause everyone's natural until you tell them what you're taking. Then everyone comes out and says what you are. I remember one time I was talking to 3 girls and I'm like, I'm coaching the 3 girls and they're all on Anavar. All 3 of them are saying they're natural to each other. And I was like, I felt like getting in a huddle and saying, you're all on Anavar. Like, but because they're all keeping it secret. So there's so many people using PDs. And I think people think they'll go to the gym and they'll point at you or me and say, yeah, those are the guys on gear. And all those people are natural. Meanwhile, Half the people in the gym that are on gear, they don't look like they work out, and they're on them because they want to look like they work out. People have this misconception that if you take steroids, you're probably going to be a pro bodybuilder as long as you take high enough dose. But in the real world, people just want to look okay. They just want to fit in. They just want to be better. And so steroids are abused by everyone, not just bodybuilders.
No, you're right. And there's this, it's so many layers. There's just so many layers to all of this. It's so intense of a conversation. It's so wild for people to be able to wrap their heads around it, especially normal people that are just watching videos that have never even, they've thought about it, but they've never actually went and did it, because when you do it, you like get this connection to it. So, and you're right, like when you start being more open about it, everybody all of a sudden starts being more open about it. And I believe the conversation needs to happen more and more. I think it needs to become more of a topic, especially like what we've been discussing a lot is the mental aspect of it, because like, dude, there's nothing like it. You know, whenever I was doing a lot of seminars, there was one thing, and steroids were always a topic, because once I filmed that first Steroids, Drugs, and Life video, like caught fire, and that's how I was really well known on YouTube. And the thing that people need to understand is no matter what you do, like we went over this, but I broke it down back then. You take 10 things in life that will give you a dopamine dump. Drugs, so we're going to take marijuana, cocaine, heroin, we'll take steroids, we'll take food, cigarettes, sugar, we'll take all those, we'll take 10 things and put them all in front of 100 people. And each one will do each one of them. You know what I mean? There will be one of those things that meets your personality that you will never let go. You just won't put it down. You will not be able to run away from it. It will be incredibly difficult to ever stop using it. And it's like it meets your personality, and people need to understand that whenever it meets your personality, dude, it got a hold of you like nothing else. For me, it's Superman drugs. Like, if you made me feel like Superman, I'm in. So that's where that dopamine dump came from with steroids, cocaine, whenever I was younger in college and partying. I loved those things. Meanwhile, like people got addicted to opiates and opiates. So the pain pills and all that, like in college, like you want to do some this and that. I'm like, no, I don't understand why you would do that. If it doesn't make me feel like I can run through a brick wall, I don't want to do it. So it's and this conversation needs to be very real with a lot of young people to understand life, because whenever you do something, there is going to be a consequence. For every action, there's a reaction. For me, certain things, the reaction was, you liked it too much, dude. Yes. And the whole reason that all these things were created were designed for you to like them.
I like the way you put that, where you have all these different drugs lined up and you could take anyone. Cause I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, like painkillers and stuff, it does nothing for me. And mentally I'm like, I don't know how people get addicted to it, but like I'm not there. I haven't understood, but you give me something like cocaine or steroids or something, Adderall, to give me some energy. I'm like, man, that's what I'm going to want. That's the addiction that would happen for me. But something like alcohol, it's like, it slows me down. I'm tired. Well, that's not for me, but for other people, that's what they want. They want to escape, or perhaps it's mushrooms or psychedelics, but there's always going to be the drug that gives you that feeling that is the problem for you.
It's really wild, and not enough young people take those things into consideration, because all of those are very real parts of life. They're going to be presented to you throughout your entire life, and you're not going to really know what the fuck to do, because they're designed for you to like them. Like they are like a Twinkie or Oreos, like what they say, like they did studies that they're just as addictive as crack or something. You're like, holy shit. But it's real, because whenever one of our employees has an Oreo problem, just eats them all the time. Like, I'm like, bro, you got to slow down. Like, that shit'll fucking kill you. And then, but for me, chips, salty items, that's my thing. If I go to a party, I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to have a diet pop and eat pretzels and chips. I love them. We have these attractions, and everybody has them about something. And we just need to understand that they are very real. They are designed for they're designed for you to have that reaction. So just understand that before you get into them. And I think that that's the thing for a lot of young people, even people that don't think like this, that are older, that are much older adults. need to understand, like, it's serious. It's not a joke. You're going
I
to
think
like
the only way to overcome it, but like you have these triggers or trigger foods. Like I can't have ice cream and cereal, things like that in the house because once I start, I can't stop. I mean, if you're an alcoholic and you got alcohol available, well, how are you going to stop? If you're into steroids and all your friends are bodybuilders and you go work out and you're all jacked and bigger than, you're inevitably going to start doing it because it's right there. And so if you can't handle it, get different friends. When I go and hang out with my bike buddy friends, like the guys that ride bikes, we never talk about steroids or drugs. It's just a different crew. When I talk with these friends, we talk a lot about partying. When I talk to these friends, it's about bodybuilding. And so you got to make the right kind of friends. And because you're going to be most like, I think the saying is you're most like your 5 closest friends. If your 5 closest friends do steroids, well, what chance do you have really?
No, you're in 100%. That's an experienced, wise comment to make or statement to make, because like it's you are who you run with. You do become that. And I think a lot of people are also a little nervous about possibly losing a good friend or I can't turn my back on it. And it's like, it's okay. Life is bigger than just one individual and it's bigger than one thing, but those are the vulnerabilities and the insecurities that I dealt with about like, man, like of getting to this point to realize like that these are going to occur in life. But yeah, no, whenever you're right, whenever you hang out with certain people, you become a lot of what that is in that scenario. Like whenever you turn 21, first thing people ask you is, where'd you go? Did you go out? Did you go have your 21 shots? And you're like, holy shit, like that is a common thing to occur. It's part of society. It's part of the way of life. And, I did it and I experienced it. And now, like you said, like I like having a beer. I like having a bourbon, but I don't like fucking up my morning routine. I like waking up and doing my cardio for an hour. I can't not do it anymore. If I'm a little tuned up the night before, Hannah and I went out to eat, or we're hanging out at one of my business partners' house, enjoying food and drinks, I still gonna wake up and do it. I have to because it's part of me now. But yeah, people need to understand that these are all like those are real life experiences that are going to grab you by the balls. For
me, with partying and staying up late and all that, I kind of have a rule. If I can't do my exercise the next day, then it's too much. I said, I want to live and have fun, but I feel like there should be like some kind of a limit. And some people, it goes too far. It's Friday night, turns into Saturday and you haven't done anything. And then before you know it, you're done. I'm like, if I can't go and do whatever I needed to do the next day, then it's too much. I should be able to go out and have a good time and stay up till 3 in the morning, maybe not 8, and then get to bed and get up and still have my routine.
Yeah. I can't stay up too late anymore. I'm lightweight.
Also, my girlfriend, a lot of people comment and say, Greg, you force if you look back at my history, you've always forced your girlfriends to work out and compete. And I'm like, I don't force anything. I have so much passion for the sport. I love it so much. How can it not ooze out of you and have other people want to do it? So like, that? Absolutely. Like my last girlfriend I met her, she wasn't a weightlift person. She didn't do all this stuff. And then she's going to a powerlifting meet, watching me setting records. And she's like, wow, that looks like fun. I'm going to start doing it. And she's in it. She's competing. And I've had maybe 3 or 4 girlfriends in the past that competed in bodybuilding. And it's like, I didn't ask or make or want that. Like they just saw me lifting weights all the time. And all I do is talk about weightlifting, and now it's all about biking. I drive my girlfriend crazy. That's one thing she won't do is bike.
Like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, it hurts her crotch too much. She's like, I ain't sitting on those seats. But aside from that, it's like you're so excited about it. How can other people not do it? And so when I do videos, I hope that the passion comes through because I'm so into like the health and fitness and eating good and doing cardio. And so I want people to watch my channels and be like, man, that life seems fun. And I want them to get into it, but I don't want them to get addicted to it and get into taking steroids, thinking they need to have single digit body fat, thinking they have to compete and all this stuff. It's about just being healthy. And so, that's the main takeaway from my channel is I want it to be a fitness channel, but not like depressing that you can't look a certain way.
Well, that's what we just got done saying is like, you are what you hang out with. Like, and if she's around you all the time and, you're a passionate guy, like you are always open to talking. You're always open to speaking your mind, even if it's not what everybody agrees with. And you're just out there. And whenever like you live that way and you live with this freedom of who you want to become in life and who you are, like it's hard for people, and like for me with doing the CrossFit workouts, like Hannah and I, like we work out on the weekends together now, do it. Like she's into it. She's like, I can fuck with this. I can do these. I like this. She's like, I have no desire to do legs with you. You know what I mean? She's like, I love these type of workouts. So we do it together. It's like, it's crazy how it occurs. And the more people that see me do it, the more they get into it. But I agree. Like it's whenever you continue to put yourself out there in the way you do, and the way like what you're doing with your channel, and how you're open, you're honest, you're outgoing with it all, that's what people need to see. The people need to understand that all of the stuff that we say and all the stuff that we talk about needs to get out in the open. And it's not you don't want people to be like, you don't want people not to be into it, or you don't want people not to, you're like, oh, I don't want you to go down the wrong path. But it's like, well, it's still on you, motherfucker. It's still on you to go down the wrong path and make your own choices. Like you can, it's not on the IFBB to control like what you do with your life. You know what I mean? Because that's why we loved it. It's not on me. Like I'm only going to give you as much information as I can. I'm going to give you experiences. I'm going to glorify crazy moments that I had and talk about how that was a wild cycle that I did. It was awesome. It was fun. But also understand it's still on you. You're accountable for your own actions. I just said what I did. Fortunately, I'm still okay for now. But like, if you do it, like it's on you. Like, don't cry to me whenever you do wild shit and get hurt. Like, you can't be like, oh, I can't believe that happened. Are you fucking with me? You're fucking with me, right? Like you said, you broke your elbow bike riding. Like, dude, you're on a bike on two wheels, going wherever you're going. Like people, whenever you see the bikers on these back roads, like Bob, my business partner, he bikes. I'm like, bro, just be careful. Like people are gonna hit you. Like shit's gonna go wrong, and it's inevitable to happen. But that's the risk that we're willing to take. The risk that you're willing to take for what you love to do. And if bodybuilding and steroids and this life is what you want to do, just understand the risks. Just know shit can go wrong. And when shit goes wrong, don't come crying to me about it. Be like, I knew, yes, I knew. Like me, like I said, I had the TRX. I totaled a TRX. I bent the frame. Well, when you buy a truck that has 700 horsepower and you're an asshole in it, that's going to happen. So it's like people just need to, it's like I love having these conversations because it is informative, but people need to understand there is consequences and you need to hold yourself accountable for them.